Have you ever dreamed of going from a student to a rising star? This is your moment. That's right, LinkedIn. It's the perfect place for you to start your professional story. Market yourself to the whole world. Join with us. Isaac in University of Jayawardhanapura presents Let's Link, an international awareness program launching on 21st of June, live streaming on Isaac Sri Lanka Facebook page. LinkedIn just might be the best investment you ever make in your career life.
Make all your ambitions a reality and achieve your wildest dreams. This is your chance to study in Australia. Achieve all your higher education goals and live the good life. Educational consultations, counseling, visa processing, and a host of other services to ease your journey. Unity Global is here to help. Step into a world of success today.
Hello and welcome to the today's session. Let's Link by online event hosted by Isaac Sri Lanka in University of Jayapura. Thank you so much for taking time out and being here today, guys. My name is Sharanya Sharma, founder and chairman of Extreme Internet Solutions. Today, we're going to have a very wonderful discussion, a powerful discussion about LinkedIn, especially for the students, job seekers, marketers, and even for a working professional, where you can hone your knowledge and skill set, discussing with a professional LinkedIn panelist, experts. Before we jump into the main session, I want to give you a short brief about the particular event as well as the panelist. So let me give you a short brief about our guest speakers. David, Enterprise Channel Director, Education Sector, Microsoft. And David lead a partner impact in customer accounts and support custom-aligned channel development execution for the partners in Microsoft. And we have another wonderful panelist here, Mr. Amar Gamake, co-founder of Quantum Leap Private Limited. And he's a well-known professional sales and leadership coach as well. And he's one of the most reputed LinkedIn personal branding personality in the Sri Lankan digital marketing industry. Naya, Executive Director, Hampton Villas and Restaurants. Naomi is a marketing professional with over 20 years of experience working for one of the biggest corporate names in the global marketplace. Her specialty, marketing, global travels, logistics, manufacturing, and distributions. And an outstanding LinkedIn personality, Mr. Sasanka Dias, head of public relations at Candy Factory Group of Companies. Sasanka is a news anchor, television personality, and digital media influencer on a mission to create social change with the media and technology. So let me welcome our today's guest speakers to the Let's Link by online event hosted by ISEC Sri Lanka and University of Jaipur. Without any further delays, let me directly dive into the main session. Let's start with an introduction. So my first question goes to Mr. David Tang. So David, could you please introduce yourself about your background and your domain expertise when it comes to the LinkedIn as well as related to the particular event?
Thank you, Sharanyan. That started on 2011 at an internal Microsoft meeting where our regional office was suggesting that we create a group for partners on social networks. They suggested Facebook. I responded by saying LinkedIn is a better platform because you don't get to see cat videos, your foods that you have just eaten, the places that you have visited. Rather, LinkedIn is a professional platform where you have blogs and postings that talks about concepts and ideas and make suggestions on career as well as business tips. The other aspect I said was you're able to have an opt-in database of partners that show you where they are currently working or whether they have left the channel or they are actually getting promoted. So you can keep a long-term database instead of continually updating your email addresses. And to prove myself right, the next month I started the Microsoft Singapore LinkedIn group, which has grown to about 2,700 channel members. It's the second largest Microsoft partner LinkedIn group globally, and also the one that is most active. And from there, in the last 9 years, I've gathered the social selling experience that I'll be sharing with you today.
Thank you so much, David. I mean, I still remember that you said earlier about the new LinkedIn group that you have created. I saw that even though it's growing day by day. Thank you so much for the. And so, introduce yourself to us. So what's your domain expertise? What do you do?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, ISEC Sri Lanka, as well as Sharanyan and rest of the organizing committee for inviting me. And it's glad to see David here, along with the rest of Iomi, Sasanka. So I was in the corporate, just like David. I was with one of the Microsoft partners here in Sri Lanka. And then when you are in the corporate world at a younger age, you actually maintain a LinkedIn profile just to showcase that you are a good employee. You know, it's about maintaining your reputation so that when you want to change your job, your LinkedIn profile is going to be helpful. And good old days, LinkedIn was actually for that only. You know, it is not the LinkedIn that we know of today. And then growing up along with LinkedIn, I realized, okay, it's about personal branding. It's about making connections. It's about deal making, getting to know the decision makers. So I changed the game and then started getting connected with all top decision makers and all. And then going forward, moved out of corporate world, became on my own, registered a company, and then we started the entrepreneurial journey. And you know, we are taking it to the next level with people like you, Sharanyan. We take it to the next level, and help people to use LinkedIn more and more to get benefited. That's my journey.
That's a wonderful journey that you are sharing with us. Thank you so much for that. So, Naomi, we want to hear your story.
All right. So thank you for inviting me. And so my journey had been actually, I too was in the corporate sector, but ventured out into being an entrepreneur about 6 years back. And LinkedIn has really helped me in terms of creating networks. Plus, I started off building my personal brand before, step by step, where I have over 20,000 connections today. And I push my business as well as my personal interests through LinkedIn. And I've been able to create a lot of positivity and connect with like-minded individuals in terms of my fitness journey, as well as hospitality and tourism. So the journey had been really good.
That's very interesting. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introduction, Naomi. So again, Sasanka, we would like to hear your story, sir.
Yes, Saranyan, thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you to ISEC in Sri Lanka. And it's a pleasure to be here. So my story, I started my career as a journalist, as a news anchor, which I still do. And I worked in that media institution full time. Thereafter, I worked in the social media section of the same institution. So during that time,
Sasanka, your mic is muted. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Go ahead. Sasanka, I think we lost you. We are not able to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now, loud and clear.
Yes. Once I started working on social media in the same institution, once you get hold to a certain job, at times you tend to finish it quite quickly, right? So we work for 8 hours, and sometimes you complete your day's work in about 5 hours or 4 hours. So then I have around 3 to 4 hours left. So what I did was I created a LinkedIn account, my profile, because those days LinkedIn was not quite known in Sri Lanka. That was back into 2012. And we had to Google and find tutorials and learn.
Sasanka, I think your mic is muted again. Hi, Sasanka.
Hi, Sharon. Apologies. There is a connectivity issue at my end. Apologies for the inconvenience.
No problem.
Yeah, let me continue with.
Okay, so I think Sasanka, you have an amazing journey that you had already. So coming back to the topic, I think looks like Sasanka having an internet connectivity issue. No problem at all. Probably will be fine. So guys, David.
Yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So continuing with the story, I just want to tell you that this is all about self-taught concepts, right? So then you get the hold of LinkedIn, and then I studied what other people did on LinkedIn in Sri Lanka and overseas. And thereafter, I had this tendency towards posting quotes, downloading from Google and uploading those images. Likewise. So I did this daily, and but I don't know, I didn't have a purpose to do that. After some time, I realized that this is a gold mine, and this is a different ball game. Thereafter, I came up with my own quotes. And posted them daily. Thereafter, I connected with more people and I created more visibility. And ultimately, I got hired by one of the fastest growing startups at that time in Sri Lanka as their social media manager. So that's how I created my journey. And let me share, I will share the other facts as the discussion progresses, Sharon. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Sasanka. I think you are having an internet connectivity. So anyway, probably it will be over. But normally in Sri Lanka, between 8 to 10 p.m., this will happen. So you need to have a concurrent connection where you can manage your conversation. This is very casual. Anyway, coming back to the topic. So my first question goes to David Tank. David, still you're coming from a corporate, you have a corporate background. So when it comes to LinkedIn for professional, LinkedIn for executives, could you please tell us how it works? Which means an executive, how he want to maintain the profile? What are the factors that he need to focus when it comes to recruiter perspective and employer perspective?
So if you're an executive already, your LinkedIn profile is kept updated with your career progression, and you should continually update it with milestones in your career. Milestones could be when you publish a paper, you have completed a capstone project, you have won an award together with teams, or you are getting promoted. And it's essential that you list the competencies that you have experienced during those milestones in your career, such as interpersonal awareness, confidence, presentation skills, for example. And if you keep your career progression in an updated manner, people will be able to see on your public profile the kind of experiences that you have gained during your career in the organization. Keeping that updated would also allow you to have an easy online resume for headhunters who are looking for people to hire who are not looking for jobs. And it is going to be strange if you pivot your thought process around this. The normal way of looking for jobs is you are either available or you are going to be available and therefore you look for a job. The current LinkedIn world of headhunting doesn't work like that anymore. The current LinkedIn world of headhunters is they are profiling your online career and deciding if you have the requisite experience, the right qualifications, and the current competencies needed for the job that they have available to hire. And they literally reach out to you when you're gainfully employed and you do not need a job. So you gotta be on your toes and keep an updated corporate profile.
Yes, that's very insightful, David. So I still remember when it comes to the HR things through the LinkedIn. So now there's an option name called ATS, Advanced Tracking System. Earlier, what happened 2 years back, normally when people are doing the headhunting, they used to visit the profile or they use they use HR platform to prospect the candidates. Now they are using ATS, simply fetch all the LinkedIn profile to analyze and classify the right candidates, even though instead of looking at the profile one by one. So that's how the system is evolved. Anyway, that's a nice insight from David. So coming back to Amita Gamake. So since you are good at personal branding, you're always talking about personal branding, Saran, you need to focus on these things, and you're also giving advices for the people. So my question to you, Mr. Amade, when it comes to personal branding, especially for the university graduates, the people who are passing out from the universities, and how they want to maintain it, what are the things they need to focus when it comes to seeking job, or they want to make sure their profile is elevated properly?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll start with my elder son, who is 15 years old, who is sitting for O-levels. I have told him, when you are 19, 20, whether you go to the university or not, you will be looking for a job. And I don't want you to use my brand and go and tell the world, I am Amita Gamage's elder son, get me a job. I said, you open a LinkedIn profile, start building your brand right now so that you could go and use your own name and then look for a job. So I'm happy to say that he has more than 300 plus connections, top professionals in Sri Lanka. He's updating on a daily basis, getting connected because he has to live up to my expectation. So if he's 15 years old and if he is doing it, I think there's all the reasons why all the university students should be doing it, because they are in their 20s now, they are reaching that age. So to start with, personal brand is not something that you do only on LinkedIn. That's one myth. You can come to LinkedIn, show the world that you are this good, your look is great, but you could go to all the other platforms and destroy your brand name. So you need to have a very focused vision about what you are going to do in the future, how your present activities are either going to positively or negatively enforce your world. As you correctly said, and even David said, whatever the digital footprint that you keep on internet is visible. Whatever you do on LinkedIn will be picked up by search engines, and vice versa, whatever you do other places. And then when you come to LinkedIn, I think that's the greatest place where you can build your professional brand. You don't have to wait for newspapers or TVs to pick you up and build a brand of yours. So you have one of the greatest platforms on earth where you are surrounded by so much of professionals. I am sure out in my LinkedIn connection base, there are about 2,000 university students. Whenever I get a connection request from a university student, I accept him or her, expecting them to learn by look at what I do and how I have maintained my profile, the content that I write. But I'm not sure how many of them are actually building their personal brand by looking at other brands. So we will talk about as we go on. So one thing is important, personal branding is important, not only when you want to get into a job. Some of the youngsters would decide to go on an entrepreneurial journey, a startup journey, and you can't be building your personal start early if you want to become a winner. Over to you, Sharan.
Thank you so much, Amita. So that's something really great insight from you, especially when it comes to university students. This is what we observed. I mean, sometimes we saw an empty profile, we saw a profile which is not really properly managed. The ultimate reason is they don't have a proper awareness. And also the purpose of this event also to create an awareness, deliver the awareness through a gathering group of LinkedIn experts where they can convey their messages to the like-minded audience. Thank you so much. So coming back to Naomi, looking at your profile, Naomi, I think you are good at marketing. You are more into marketing, sales and marketing. So apart from the sales navigator and using the third-party applications to track the sales and lead prospect, is there any other way that you can recommend people who can simply use the search bar, or you have a different strategy where we can get connected with the corporates or the consumers to promote our product rather than going with the cold email? Naomi, I think you're muted.
Okay, sorry. So if you look at some other techniques that I use to promote my business and the personal brand, it's I create a lot of content, predominantly original content. It can be images, or video or articles that are original. And it's actually, I use this content to at least 2 to 3 times a week, so that which can actually benefit somebody else and to connect with me. So for certain, there are a few examples that I can quote. Now during COVID-19, when people were talking about being stuck at home, they were focusing more on consuming more food, consuming more alcohol. So there were so many social issues that we saw during this period. And what I picked out was certain trends. People were looking at more or less some kind of inspiration, some kind of motivation to try and get into fitness or get into some sort of activity that they can keep their minds here. So that's when I came up with all these fitness videos and images where I got a lot of positive feedback. Then the second thing I did was really get kind of, now people were talking about post-lockdown, they were looking at travel. So what I did was look at really the trend on, because not only LinkedIn, I look at trends on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even the friends we associate with. Everyone's looking at going out. Where are we going? Where are we going? What do we want? Everyone wanted to get out, travel. So what I did was, while promoting stay safe, stay home, but started pushing people to look at, more of a relaxed getaway. So that's what I did, going from not only using LinkedIn, but all the other things to market my personal brand as well as business, help somebody else in return. So, yeah.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you. So the thing is, when it comes to the LinkedIn, the way that we articulate, the way that we create and publish stories, that will make a huge impact. Even though what happened today, I think, Mr. Amit, you have seen the post that I shared with even our LinkedIn mastermind group. So it's a very realistic situation, which means woman, she worked for a corporate for a period of 25 years. So it's not about a particular gender. It's not about the way that she worked, but the only point, the 25 years working for just one company need to be appreciated, because in the mindset and also the way that the current trend and the work environment is going in a different direction. People are always getting distracted. People always want to go ahead with the different opportunities. So likewise, what I published, it's a story, unbiased story. So as Naomi said, she started writing a content, she started publishing something realistic content rather than promoting herself. That is all about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is all about value, authenticity and value. With that, my next question to Sasanka. Hi, Sasanka. Yes.
Yes, Alan.
Yes, since you are an online media influencer and you are also working for a media, my question to you, so when it comes to journalism and when it comes to creativity, how people are leveraging the power of LinkedIn, how people are using LinkedIn in order to improve their career as a journalist?
Yes, I think it is the best platform to anyone, whether you're
of course
maybe journalist, maybe
a separate niche.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah. So my question to you is, when it comes to LinkedIn, anyone can leverage the power of LinkedIn in order to career as well as the personal branding. But my question is very specific because we have an audience highly related to your industry, especially journalists. So when it comes to journalists, how they can leverage the power of LinkedIn in order to improve their presence?
Yeah, I think it's all about adding value to the audience. LinkedIn is all about your audience. It's not about you. If you create your own content, the weightage that it has is very low. So it's all about the audience. So you can come up with content, you can curate content, you can share content from other media channels, global or local. So there are various ways that you can get inspiration from. As Amita said, it's not, when you start to create content, it's not only on LinkedIn, you get inspiration from other platforms, right? So if you take me personally, I take inspiration from Twitter, maybe Pinterest, Facebook at times. So mostly on Twitter. At my end, it's mostly on Twitter. So that's how I create ideas to come up with my content. Likewise, especially for undergraduates, if they're interested in getting into journalism, they should move out and think of the social media platforms. It's not only TV. It won't be obsolete, but there will be more opportunities on social media. Whether you're a journalist, you can start your own YouTube channel. I'll share my story. So after I left this job in the corporate world, before starting my own content, I was just at home. And I created one video on the 26th of December 2017 that was as a tribute to the tsunami victims. That's how it all started, right? So it was a tribute video for tsunami victims. And thereafter, I uploaded videos for 10 days at a stretch. And I received appreciation from my audience. And then realized that I need to come up with an idea to inspire people. So that's how I use my journalistic experience to create my own content and ultimately build a brand. So answering to your question, if someone is interested in journalism, you should help your audience. What type of journalistic approaches that you can take in terms of educating your audience? Maybe writers, maybe video editors, maybe graphic designers, motion graphic artists, animators, or whatever. Anyone related to journalism or media, I think they should get on LinkedIn right now. It's now or never. So, and then you have plenty of job opportunities when you get on LinkedIn for media professionals. I hope that I answered your question.
Of course you are. Okay, that's really insightful. Coming back to the organizing team, I still remember the ISEC organizing team when they reached out to me in order to have a LinkedIn session through the ISEC Sri Lanka. I simply asked a very specific question: why you want to do that? Why? Because you guys are undergraduate, you guys are now only you guys are passing out from the university. Why you want to get into LinkedIn? Then they gave me justification, sir, saying, sir, whenever we are passing out from the university, we have only two options. We want to go and get the job, or we want to start our new business. So getting job is completely fine. Of course, we don't want to rely on LinkedIn. But when it comes to starting your new business, of course, LinkedIn is a powerful tool where you can get your right employees and you can hire the talent, you can get your co-founder, and also you can get your investor as well. I want to make this conversation something really more interesting rather than going with a very corporate discussion. So my question to David, so when it comes to an entrepreneur perspective, LinkedIn is something really a worthful tool where we can find out an investor, where we can improve the market access through our connections, like our peer connections. Do you think LinkedIn is the right tool in order to improve the startup entrepreneur mindset, or not the mindset, but the market accessibility?
It's actually a fantastic tool when you want to be able to find like-minded individuals to join you in your journey. And being a publishing platform with LinkedIn articles, you're able to view like-minded individuals just like yourself, setting out a business that is related to you or has skills and experience in areas which you lack, or maybe you want in terms of a strength. And you're also able to look at the currency. What I mean by that is when you go online to LinkedIn, you're able to look at how people comment on posts and decide if this is an individual who is aligned to common goals that you have in your startup, and you're able to quickly reach out to them simply because they have recently commented on LinkedIn. And reaching out to like-minded individuals such as yourself extends beyond just the local area. You can go global with that, and getting people to help you crowdsource whether your idea as a startup will take off locally or globally is one of the best ways to test your hypothesis on whether something will work as a startup.
Thank you so much, David. Because I still remember, I mean, when I'm hiring people, when I'm recruiting people from LinkedIn, especially when it comes to startup, and I noticed a difference because when we are hiring a person, especially for the corporate, immediately they are asking, what about the package? What about the salary package? But when it comes to hiring people, recruiting people for the startups, they are simply asking, how can I help you? How can I support you? So the tone is entirely different when it comes to startup because people are getting mature. I mean, when it comes to LinkedIn, the way of their communication, the way of their the approach is entirely different from the typical email channel. I noticed that. That's highly related to your answer, David.
That's right.
So back to Amita. So there are questions coming from the panelists, apart from the participants. For the participants, guys, if you have any questions about LinkedIn, managing your LinkedIn profile, whether you want to get an advice about how to improve your LinkedIn presence, or whether you want to maintain a LinkedIn premium account, whatever it is, just post it here. And if you want to ask that question from a specific panelist and also mention their name, I will make sure these people are going to answer your question. Coming back to Amida, there's a question from Kenneth. He's asking about having a LinkedIn account as a student. How will it dedicate to pursue the career? Is it really essential to maintain a LinkedIn profile for when it comes to students? And also just give an additional kind of benefit, whether a student, is it really must to maintain a LinkedIn premium account? Can you give a justification for that?
Actually speaking, you don't have to have a premium account at that early stage. I know someone who has 135,000 connections and the person still doesn't have a premium account. I mean, I recently got a premium account. If you are really good on your content strategy, you know, if you can work as a lead magnet where people will come behind you because of the way you write or you create videos, then I personally believe you don't have to have a premium account. That's answering Kenneth's question. And then why should you have a LinkedIn account for a university student? Suppose if you are planning to become a chemistry related job, you know, if you are getting something like that, you are getting an engineering related job, that's your planning. You need to get connected with the future community. You want to get connected to your seniors. Where would you find them? Would you find them on Facebook? Can you find them on Pinterest or Instagram? No. This is the only platform where people will honestly say, I'm working here and this is how I have progressed. I'm the CEO here. I'm the general manager here. I'm the engineering manager here. So you can easily find the people who could help you in the future. So LinkedIn also has this snowballing effect. You know, it would be a little frustrating at the beginning. You send connection requests, people may not accept you, but then one by one, you know, one reason why I accept when university students send me a connection request, when they try to connect with someone else, they will see Amita Gamage is a mutual connection. So I want to help them to get connected to the right party, so that I'm with wholeheartedly, okay, let her find the path, and I accept the connection request. I hope I have answered, Sharon.
Of course you are. And I think most of you will agree. I mean, all these panels will agree, because when it comes to LinkedIn, we really don't see the benefit. We try to help each other. Say an example, there's an option. Can you give an intro? Say an example, there's a person connected with Mike, David. And what I do, I used to ask Michael, David, can you give an intro? So likewise, but when it comes to requesting the same connection through the email channel, email thread, no, not getting a response. But in LinkedIn, yes, probably the blue color, maybe the inbox is giving a magic. Probably, I don't know whether it's right or wrong. So likewise. And also, coming back to the main topic about why LinkedIn is really important, why we all are talking about LinkedIn. Because I still remember the morning, there's one person he asked about our LinkedIn Mastermind launch. He said, Sharian, why? Why are you using hat? Why are you using this? Why Amida is using hat when he's talking? Are you trying to brand yourself using this kind of thing? Okay, simply I asked the question because it's also related to our personal branding. Okay, I simply asked them, it's all about how you look at it. Okay, so if you look at the content, the way that you talk, that's a content. And if you look at the context, that's a different story. It's all about how you look at us. That's how we brand. If you look at the LinkedIn conversation, we always talk in a very professional way. We don't use dude, we don't use bro, we don't use hey. So in LinkedIn conversation, we always dear David. So this is how we talk. But when it comes to Facebook, no. Hey bro. So likewise. So people need to understand the difference between the LinkedIn as well as the other social media channels. But again, after all, everything is a social media platform. But every social media platform itself having an own algorithm and also having an own pattern of working. With that, my question to Naomi. Naomi, again, still you are in the sales and marketing. I want to get to know, I really want to know that you have a success story, closing a high ticket sales, high ticket lead through a LinkedIn. Are you using LinkedIn to close the high ticket sales? If yes, do you have any success story where you can share with us?
Yes, actually, I use a basic LinkedIn account. I don't use a premium or anything of that sort because I like to keep it simple at the moment. So 6 years ago, when I left the corporate sector, I was the head of advertising and public relations for Sri Lankan Airlines. I left the job and I thought because of the family commitments, all of that, and I have 2 daughters and I'm married. So I had a problem of going back to work. So I thought it's best I started something on my own. So slowly I got onto LinkedIn and with Handun Vilas and Restaurants, we launched 6 years ago and the business took off in 2017. Since so from 2014-15 onwards, I have been on using LinkedIn as well as other social media platforms to promote myself. I think, like Amita said before, it's not only social media, but everything that we do. I kind of started having a consistency in my messaging, what I wanted to be. And then we launched our business in 2017. Handun Vilas and Restaurants, we are in a actually area called Talalla, which is very it's very serene, very and not many Sri Lankans, not many locals know about us, where we are from. But in terms of the foreigners, especially Europeans, Talalla was a very luxury, very pristine beach, and a lot of tourists came to for actually wellness activities, for yoga, for meditation. So from 2017 onwards, I have been promoting Talalla slowly and steadily, offering relaxation and Sri Lankan culture, nature and heritage. So that has been my strategy throughout. And we've had the last year, unfortunately, Easter attacks, and then now COVID. But saying that, today I'm sustaining my business with that, how can I say, that success story where I have been communicating regularly about come to Talalla, come to Talalla. So I'm very happy and proud to say I've had a back-to-back from Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights. I've been fully booked. And I'm very happy about the progress. And we've launched our restaurant as well on the beach. So that's my success story. LinkedIn has really helped me connect with corporates, with personal people, and also overseas. People are waiting to come visit me. No sooner the airports are open. I think I have been able to use my personal brand indirectly as face of my business, so that we connect together. So that's my success story, Sharon.
That's really interesting. And so I still remember when we are communicating, when we are proposing, pitching something through LinkedIn, I mean, not immediately, but after getting connected, I still notice there's no negotiation like we do on our emails. Guys, have you noticed that? On LinkedIn emails, when we are pitching our product or services, if someone is asking for a proposal or maybe guidance, when we are saying this is the price, this is how it works, simply genuinely they are accepting it. Have you noticed that kind of mindset? Again, maybe I can say it's all about blue, maybe all about blue. Anyway, so there's one more question for Sasanka. Sasanka, in terms of university students' perspective, undergraduate perspective, in order to reach the employer, is there any other strategies, is there any framework that we need to maintain to outreach the employers through LinkedIn? I mean, if you want to outreach the employee, is there any other strategies, is there any other etiquette that we need to follow?
Yes, all right. So especially for undergraduates, the thing that they need to understand is to select a path which aligns with their skills and passion, right? So they need to, Sharon, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah. So what I said was they need to understand that they have to select a path which aligns with their skills and passion. And thereafter look for a job. Because there are two things. So job and a career are two different things, right? Job is something that you do, you get a monthly income. But career is totally different. You're going for a purpose, you're going for a goal. So you need to understand the clear difference between job and the career. So I think given the current context, jobs are changing, the work styles are changing. Some of the jobs have not been introduced as yet. We don't know about them since technology is evolving rapidly. So undergraduates need to keep in touch with the current trends and keep up with the same pace so that they can be successful. So my advice is you can carry out research about companies, right? You can visit the company pages, look at them, what they are doing, and you can see whether that company page or the company aligns with your skills and passion. Because in my experience, LinkedIn was not available when we were in school, right? And there was no proper path for us to pursue until we came across LinkedIn. And then we realized the purpose and what a goldmine this is. But for the current undergraduates, they have a platform, so they need to utilize it in a way that they can convince the employers. So when it comes to convincing, you have to understand the clear difference between a resume and a LinkedIn profile, right? So resume is created for the sole purpose of getting a job, but a LinkedIn profile is totally different. And even when you start connecting with people, if you take into consideration other platforms, maybe Facebook, you try to connect with the people whom you know only. But when you connect with someone on LinkedIn, whether you know him or not, there is a tendency or a possibility where that person can introduce you to more than 500 plus people, 1,000 plus jobs, or more than 500 companies. So that's the real influence that LinkedIn makes on a person. So I believe that undergraduates should get on LinkedIn right now. And it is not an overnight story, Sarangan. It's a journey. I am on LinkedIn for 8 years, and I know that the other three panelists are way senior than me, and they have been on LinkedIn more than me, right? So I believe it's a journey. You need to create, you can get guidance, you can get coaching from someone, but you have to do it. Now, when I see, I get requests from undergraduates. I get requests from undergraduates, as Amita said. But when you go deep and see into their profiles, you realize that what they post don't align with their bio or what they have in their headline or the interest that they have. I think that's the basic. When you create a profile, you put your interest, you use your interest, and you come up with a catchy headline so that you get people to look at your profile. You attract people. So likewise, I believe undergraduates should get on LinkedIn and study what other people do on LinkedIn, which I did initially. And thereafter come up with your own content and be an influence to people. Because my personal branding statement is be an influencer, not an influencer. So yeah. I believe that is the way forward for undergraduates.
Perfect. So thank you so much for the detailed explanation about the question, Sasanka. I think initially we started with an introduction and then we dive deep about how we can leverage the LinkedIn in terms of the student's perspective, employer and employee perspective, and also we discussed about entrepreneur and the startups, and then personal branding and everything. So now it's time to get some questions from the participants. Meantime, and there are people, they're asking questions like, why suddenly LinkedIn it's getting hooked in Sri Lanka? I think I see a smile from Amita's face. See, if you look at the statistics, Sri Lankan LinkedIn statistics from the Nepal chat, every month, the LinkedIn penetration in Sri Lanka is hooping. If you look at the last month, March and May statistics, 5.6%, it's been increased, like a 1.3% been increased within just 1 month. Just imagine, I don't want to climb like only we people work, but together we did something. Like Isaac is what they are doing right now. Likewise, how David is from Singapore, he is supporting us. Likewise, it's all about a platform. Collaboratively, we can support each other. That's the power of community. So if you say LinkedIn, it's all about community. Coming back to the topic, so it's time to get some questions from the participants. There's a very interesting question from Hiruni Veerasinka. This is open to you guys. Panelists, it's up to you. It's open to you. You can take the questions if it's something related to you. How will our personal branding get affected via LinkedIn profile? What are the steps that we should follow to maintain our branding? It's something related to personal branding. I think Amita or David is ideal for you guys.
David, you take it. I want David to tell us, you know, we don't get to see David all the time. Let's get David's expert.
You do know this is nighttime and it's midnight. That's why it's so dark. So dark. Well, in personal branding, in my personal opinion, if I want to be found online and become effective as a social seller, I want to ensure that people remember my brand. And asking for recommendations online with people who have worked with me or people who have encountered me at presentations, events, sharing sessions such as this one helps give people an idea of what I'm good at, and they can post that into recommendations. The second thing that can increase the value of your own personal brand is for people that know you, who are your own classmates, who have worked with you on projects, or who are your colleagues in your organization who have seen your good work. They endorse you online under skills and endorsements, and you want to be able to see that someone with more than 100 endorsements in exactly the same skill that you're getting endorsed, and it will show you, someone who is highly endorsed in this has endorsed you. And that helps build your own personal branding. You might also want to use your summary as your own personal loudspeaker. And that allows you to set yourself apart within the entire organization. Now, in terms of LinkedIn, we have a premium edition known as LinkedIn Teams edition. And it's a LinkedIn Sales Navigator edition that is extended to all sales and marketing folks at Microsoft. Today, that's about 40,000 people on the Sales and Marketing Premium edition of the LinkedIn within Microsoft, with GitHub, as well as LinkedIn itself. In the Teams edition, in order to get highly ranked, you have to be good in your social selling index. That's one thing aside, the SSI. But to be truly recognized by your peers like me follow each other to see what is valuable content that is being followed or read throughout the entire organization. Because we want to have the ability to say something credible and immediately have someone share something credible. And when you see that the total number of shares is the measure of your personal corporate branding success, then you've practically got to a very high level of branding. So we're not starting at views, which is good. We are not stopping at comments, which is people posting feedback. We want to go for the highest metric possible, which is shares. And when somebody shares your content, they share it through all their connections, allowing the word of mouth to go viral extremely quickly. And it's practically exponential. So focus on your branding.
That's a very detailed one, David. Thank you so much. So there's another question from Rinas. What are the key things I should focus on developing on my LinkedIn account in order to make an impact on employer hiring? I think we already discussed about this topic several times. It's stressed by Sasanka as well as Naomi as well. So let me skip that one. From Fasal Mohammed, are there any specific way to reach specific target customers using LinkedIn when we advertise? So I think you're talking about advertising through LinkedIn, paid advertising through LinkedIn, or you're talking about you want to improve your presence, improve your reach through LinkedIn. So which is kind of confusing, but I would say when it comes to improving your presence online through LinkedIn, naturally, you really need to focus on improving your personal branding. As Amita said, the title, description, your profile headshot, and your background, as well as your story. So which means when it comes to LinkedIn description, it's all about your story. So, and also you can't just simply use the same strategy which is used by the corporate level person. So because when it comes to LinkedIn profile, that there are types. Say an example, if you're an executive, you need to maintain a different tone. But when it comes to a student's perspective, because you don't have so much of professional experience and expertise, so you only can display your volunteer activities and your universities and the things that you have done as a portfolio. So in that scenario, you have to maintain a different tone. But when it comes to an expert, like an athlete, celebrity, you have a different views. It's like a third-party writing perspective. Your description will be written in a third-party perspective. So corporate people like David and Amida and all these panelists, so they will write like a story. So likewise, you need to get to know your target audience. That's very important. I'm not answering my question. I'm not answering your question, but I'm just giving you a point because this is something all the panelists, they have already stressed out. So there's one more question from Charit. As an entrepreneur, how could I make business context for the how will support my business? And what does it mean that anonymous browsing? Can maybe Sasanka or Naomi would like to answer this question? So let me repeat the question again. As an entrepreneur, how could I make business contacts for the how will support my business through LinkedIn? And also, is there any way we can do anonymous browsing through LinkedIn?
Would you like a question, Sasanka?
Yeah, I think Naomi, you can take over.
Okay. So the question is, as an entrepreneur, how could I make business contacts further? How will it support my business? Okay, I think like Sharanya also mentioned, your headline, who you are, your story, and your introduction really matters. Because even starting with your profile photograph, I think very basics. Your profile photograph, your background picture. Let's say you represent now. You are trying to be the brand. So your personal brand comes in front, and your business logo comes at the back. Then your summary of who you are, and then you can have your in terms of your background and what your current business is. And doing that, entrepreneurs, it can be B2B or B2C. So you will see a lot of individuals also using LinkedIn as well as companies. So I think if you get the fundamentals right in terms of your business profile and the page on LinkedIn, it's mandatory as an initial step to grow your business. And then you can start networking. And my advice to a lot of female entrepreneurs as well and students, don't be scared to accept invitations from strangers. If you want to grow your business as a personal brand or a business, being open to new connections is very important. Because unlike other social media platforms, LinkedIn is, I would say, 99% a professional network, and it's very difficult to maintain a fake profile on LinkedIn. So please be open to new connections, and also accept connections, and please participate in commenting and commenting on thought leaders' posts can actually because when you start liking and commenting on posts, your activity levels on LinkedIn goes up. So there are tools like that which you can really use to build your business as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Naomi. And there's another question from Sambhavi. What are the uses of Sales Navigator for a customer? And can we use the Sales Navigator for recruiting purposes? If so, how we can use that? Sales Navigator for the recruitment purpose. I think maybe I can answer it, but I will direct this question to Amita.
Yeah, I would actually like to redirect this to David again, because David is a Sales Navigator expert. I have been following him for a very long time, and I think we should give him the justice to answer because he's an expert on the subject. David.
You know, I wrote an article once about how to do Tai Chi. It's titled The Tai Chi Thinker. Tai Chi means that he is a grandmaster in diversion. So way to go. When it comes to the LinkedIn Sales Navigator Premium Edition, I first got mine from Microsoft in February of 2017. The feature I loved the most was this feature, which allows you to follow an account. An account means a company. When I follow an account, everyone who works in that company that I'm not connected to is immediately tagged, meaning that if an account has contacts, which is employees working in that company, and they are active on LinkedIn, every one of their actions are flagged up to me in a daily feed. And from that daily feed, I could see if anyone from that company has appeared in media, Media meaning newspapers and magazines with 100% match based on their name and associated job titles, so that I'd be able to reach out to them and say, hey, I read your article in a magazine, and I see that you're talking about security. We've got an update at Microsoft for security. Would you be interested? And almost always someone would point me to an individual within the organization and say, hey, set up a meeting. Let's go and see what's good about this. The other thing that I liked about following accounts is I'm able to see who has recently changed their jobs, meaning they have either gotten promoted or they've moved to a different organization. And I'll be able to reach out to them, greet them and say, hey, congratulations on your promotion. So what will be your role today? What will be occupying most of your time going forward? This will give me an idea of what they're going to do, and to be able to ask follow-up question as in the next fiscal year forward, what will be your objectives? These areas within the premium edition of LinkedIn Sales Navigator are not in the free edition. So you need to get Sales Navigator. And that's just one of the things that I really like about that.
Thank you so much, David. Thanks a lot. So there's another question from Ajani. Sometimes LinkedIn exposes our privacy and identity. If so, what are the steps that we have to take up in order to prevent that security issues? I think she's talking about the privacy. If someone can elaborate about the basic privacy settings, I think that would be sufficient. Sasanka? Sasanka, are you able to answer this? Can I repeat the question for you?
Sharan, let me answer the anonymous browsing question, which was posed earlier.
Okay, so
I'll answer that.
Sasanka, if you can cover this question as well, because this is both are related to security.
That's correct. So anonymous browsing is, there are certain set of browsers where you can browse without revealing your privacy, maybe your IP address or all those details. So for example, the Tor browser, TOR browser, it's one way to do anonymous browsing. So it doesn't reveal your privacy. So when it comes to the privacy settings on LinkedIn, Sharon, could you share the screen so that we can explain it to them? Would you be able to do that?
My apology, I don't have the host privilege. I would really appreciate.
All right.
I think that would work.
Could you repeat it, please? Sorry, I didn't get you.
I don't have the host privilege. I mean, in order to share the screen.
Oh, all right.
It would be great if you explain in a very basic way. Thank you.
Yeah. So privacy is very important on LinkedIn. So you need to. Unfortunately, we couldn't share the screen and demonstrate it, but you go to the settings and you find privacy settings. In that area, you should be able to find options where you would read and understand. It won't reveal your privacy, especially when on LinkedIn. It is always important to have that privacy. Because it is not a platform like Facebook, right? So it always helps you to post content which does not reveal your privacy. So I think having the email notifications on those settings is important, because you get notified. Even if you miss it on LinkedIn, you would get it as an email. So these type, I think having the email setting on is more than enough. There is no need to go forward with the other settings as a beginner. Once you get hold of the platform and once you get the knack of creating content and knowing about LinkedIn, then you can try out the other privacy settings. For a beginner, for an undergraduate, I believe, Sharanjan, having the email notification setting on will be more than enough.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Did I answer the question?
Of course, you did that. And for I think maybe adding further, adding with Sasanka feedback, if you go to your LinkedIn section in your Me account, so which means on the top of the menu, there's an option Me. When you click on the Me, you will see your privacy settings. So which means you can enable your contact details. Say an example, your email address, your phone number, and all these things that you have displayed on your account. You have an option to private, make it public. So simply you can control everything. And also you have an option to download your profile as a resume where you can simply upload any ATS platform to classify whether your profile is properly integrated. Even though there are plenty of third-party platform where you can classify your profile, your content being copied from any other different sources, your about a section. Someone already copied your content, get to know. And also you can even analyze your profile photo happiness. So which means, see, if you look at me, if I upload my profile picture to the scanning tool, it will tell me like 67% saying because I do have these things. So there are plenty of tools where you can get to know in order to tweak your security settings as well as your profile optimization strategies. Okay, with that, there's one more question from Chanaka Pereira. How can LinkedIn make your job search more relevant to your career targets? And there are various companies trying to attract potential employees on the same industry. But if we are switched, an industry is quite something really lengthy. Let me read very quickly. Please look. Okay, I think he's talking about, Kenneth is asking about, Chanaka is asking about how LinkedIn can make your job search easy. In nutshell, how you can do the proper job search instead of using the typical search bar, how you can narrow it down for the selective job. Say an example, you are trying to find out a job from US and specific company, tech company, how we can narrow it down. Anyone up for to take this question? Maybe I think I am Amida.
Yeah. So apart from switching on that you are available for jobs, that would be one setting that you could do, so that the entire network would know, and then recruiters would know. There's a massive network of recruiters who are also looking for you. Apart from that, in your industry, let's say if you are following a degree related to automobile engineering, the top automobile engineering companies, go and follow their pages. In each page, you have jobs. Whenever they have jobs, they publish those jobs in those company pages. You can actually adjust there and add the kind of jobs that you are interested from that company. Let's say in Sri Lanka, you register yourself in those companies, go to page, follow the page, go to job section, and there are areas where you can add, okay, I'm interested in automobile engineer or service advisor job. Whenever they publish a job, you get the notification before anyone else. Apart from many other features, just two features I just explained because of the time constraint.
Thank you so much, Amita. So there's another question talking about social selling index, SSI. So the question is something really very specific. As a student, do I really need to care about SSI? Even though, in my opinion, we professional, we really don't care about SSI. SSI is all about numbers and the metrics. But of course, it will give you an information, comprehensive information about your involvement and your engagement with LinkedIn. But I would say, maybe I can pass this question to David. David, can you answer this question about SSI, whether it's SSI essential for the students?
Well, it becomes essential when you looking for it becomes essential when you want a headhunter to look for you. It's not essential when you are looking for a job. In fact, you can have 30 plus SSI or 0, in fact, then you can go look for a job. It just makes it a lot more easier for a headhunter to seek you out. So if you have all the 25 points in the 4 different categories for SSI, you'd find that you are found a lot more. You're invited a lot more to look at and consider jobs that are available, and they come to you, you don't go to them. So when you want someone to find you, yes, it's important.
Thank you, David. Thanks a lot. So there's another question from Rasika Devindara. How could the students who have the entrepreneurial intention use LinkedIn effectively for searching new opportunities, getting help from others like startups? I think Naomi can answer this question. I think this is related to you.
Sharanya, I think I addressed that question before when we spoke about how to launch, how a business entrepreneur can really use LinkedIn to grow their business network. I think it's the same concept for a startup as well, because there are so many angel investors out there on LinkedIn looking at opportunities to invest locally as well as globally. So like I mentioned before, maintaining a really good LinkedIn profile is, I would say, the key.
I think, Naomi, can I narrow it down the question because it sounds like, because from the student's perspective, so students who want to get an advice, who want to reach out to startup entrepreneurs, so which means a different audience. If it's a startup, of course, you can reach out to investors. I think I didn't elaborate this question properly. My apology for that. So from the student's perspective, from the student's perspective, how they can use the LinkedIn in order to reach the startups to get their help, get their advices.
Okay, so the question is, a student, they want to
reach out to startups.
Sorry, you're breaking up, Sharanya.
Naomi, the question is very specific.
Okay.
A student who wanted to reach out a startup entrepreneur to get his mentorship advisors.
All right.
So
okay. All right. Okay.
He's reaching out investor. It's a student. He wants to get an advice from the entrepreneur.
Okay. So I think maintaining a student, I guess, maintaining a business profile. Maintaining a student profile with the interest of, because you can list on your interest on LinkedIn as well, what you're looking for. It could be for mentorship, a help, or investing. So there are tools on LinkedIn that students can use to reach out to these startup entrepreneurs for mentorship.
Okay. Thank you so much. And there's another question from Nirosha. It's all about, is there any way to validate the endorsement? So endorsement and recommendation both are different things. A recommendation, and when you're dealing a business or relationship with, or if you're doing something, the people will write a recommendation based on the experience that they had with you. Endorsement, it's all about your skill set. So Sasanka, are you able to answer this question?
Could you repeat the question, Sharon?
Yeah, sure. So the question is, are there any other unique way to verify the endorsement on LinkedIn? Say an example, if I'm endorsing you, you're going to see the number of people who have endorsed a particular specific skill. But the question is, the particular person is asking, is there a way to see the person who has endorsed?
Yeah, the endorsements, yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, that's a question. So are you able to take that question, or shall I transfer this to others?
Let me add on to the question, right? So I'll start the answer. So endorsements depend on, sometimes people whom you know personally would endorse you to a certain set of skills if you have worked with them before. Likewise, when they can get an idea of the content that you post as well. So these type of ways to validate can be beneficial when endorsing someone. If you know a person personally, or if you have worked with that person in a professional manner before, you would endorse him or her to a certain skill. And on the other hand, from what you post with your interests, because always you need to have that relevance when you post your content, right? It has to align with your interest. So whatever you post, through that, whether you write or whether you record a video, there are ways that people identify you to a certain skill. And through the content, they would realize that now sometimes people develop skills once they get on LinkedIn. When they want to create opportunities, you need to upskill yourself. And when the audience realizes it, then they will say, okay, I will go and endorse him to this skill. I will endorse her for another skill. So I think it depends on what you post, and also on the fact that if you have worked with that person before, they know by meeting in person, handing over a project, delivering it, and so on and so forth. So I believe endorsements work in both ways, whether it may be a personal contact or mostly on LinkedIn. You don't know most of the people whom you connect with. So in that aspect, what you post would definitely display what your skills are. Maybe writing, speaking, whatever, reading or whatever.
Yes,
so,
yes.
And then especially when it comes to technology, those skills, software engineering or the languages. So you see, people endorse people for various skills. And I believe that is a way to verify endorsements.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sasanka. Thank you so much for that. And there's a question, as a medical student, how is LinkedIn useful? I would say there are, it's all about how you are positioning yourself. This is very important. Say an example, maybe you are a medical, maybe you are maybe an engineer, but this is how you position through LinkedIn will work. Because it's not about just one target audience. So when it comes to LinkedIn, not just and also maybe your stakeholders, maybe your professor, maybe your bosses and your customers. Between you have multiple audience, you need to focus on that stuff as well. And when it comes to endorsement and recommendation, both are different things. So which means endorsement can be a reciprocal, and of course recommendation also can be reciprocal. But when you are giving a recommendation to others, it's really hard to get it back. So, which means it's solely depend on them. So we can't just expect, hey, I gave you a recommendation, you also need to give it back. So you can't just do that. So it's all about the relationship. Maybe you have created a better relationship with a particular person. He's really happy about it. Now he's giving you feedback. But at the same time, you will get a better experience from him. He reserved the rights not to give you a recommendation. So we can't just think like, hey, I gave you, you have to give it back. But for the benefit, just you have option, because there are multiple skills, like you can endorse the top 3 skills, top 5 skills, top 7 skills. Say an example, if you're a programmer, you can endorse for PHP, MySQL, or maybe Laravel, whatever skill set, you can simply endorse that. So that's the difference between the endorsement and recommendations. So, so I think I want to make this conversation something really, really interesting, because we have another 16 minutes more. Can we make it as a fireside chat, which means I'm going to ask very interesting questions, guys. It's going to be a very open forum. So if you think that question is something related to you, maybe you can just answer it within 30 seconds. Can we make it happen? Yeah, thank you. So when it comes to LinkedIn Pulse, LinkedIn article, creating a LinkedIn article, publishing and promoting. So what are the strategies that you recommend? Like, can you advise 3 top strategies that you use when you're publishing an article on LinkedIn Pulse? I think, David, are you able to answer this one?
Sure. Is that really a fireside if you're still pointing the arrow?
So I want to make it in a smooth, not immediately jumping into the fireside.
Sure. Let me just give you a tip first. There is a difference between using the publishing platform, which is LinkedIn articles, and the normal timeline where you just post your daily thoughts. In order for me to identify useful article contents to write, what I do first is I just do a normal post. A normal post in timeline appears in more members' daily feeds than an article. So by looking at that first and seeing how many views it has, the number of comments it has, and the number of shares, I can immediately fish out those who have more than 1,000 views is probably good content to create an article. And an article, you can decide to write a long form article, because today LinkedIn will actually tell you whether the article takes 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 5 minutes to read. And you can expand and drill down on your thoughts to explain further what you meant in your earlier comment. That allows you to shortlist what can potentially be great articles to write.
Thank you, David. For Amita, you have 15 to 20 for this one. What is your top 3 activities that you do every day?
Every day, I definitely post one post. It would be a written one or a video or a picture. Definitely, I do it every day. And I make sure I congratulate somebody for an achievement like a promotion. And then I always go and comment. These are like daily rituals.
Thank you. For Sasanka, if someone, a stranger, is sending an email via inbox, you will respond. He's pitching you after you accept their invitation. You will respond. How you will react?
Sharan, could you repeat the question? I lost you at some point.
There's a request coming to you through LinkedIn. You are accepting the connection request. You are accepting it. Immediately after accepting you, there's a pitching, product pitching, sales pitching. How you will react?
I would personally, maybe if he or she sends me a document, I'll just acknowledge what the message says. I'll just reply back saying, this is noted, I'll get back to you, or maybe, yeah, thanks for connecting. But first I need to go through what he or she sends us, right? So we need to see what it really contains, whether it benefits my audience. That is the most important factor. Even if I am to create content through that, I need to figure out whether the content in the document that he or she sends is relevant to my audience. That's what I would look at.
Thank you.
And I would definitely acknowledge. But we'll go through deeply into what he or she sends.
Sharan, we lost your audio.
Naomi, I have just one question to you.
Yeah.
So what you will do when there's a sales pitch, it is massively coming every day from a in-mail thread. Say an example, there are people, they're going to create a thread asking to promote your product, promote their post. So this is what people used to say, chain of connections. So what they do, they want to get more and more virality for their post. What they do, they create a separate thread and start posting their updates, which means they're expecting likes and comments. So in that scenario, what you will do is you will simply disconnect yourself, or you will still support them, or you will manage it.
This question is for me, Sharan.
To you, Naomi.
All right. Okay. Actually, I think to actually contribute to Sasanka's question as well, as people who are trying to build a brand, a personal brand, it's very important to make sure as soon as you connect, not to send a sales pitch. You have to be very, very careful as to choosing your time and how and when to pitch.
True.
Yeah, and to add to that, to the question, actually there are instances where people keep on posting sales pitches, emailing sales pitches, trying to find a contact number and close, and especially certain industries where which are dependent on sales commissions. People try very hard. If it's a mutual connection or somebody whom I've known, definitely I will comment and promote. But if it's somebody that I don't know or which will in turn have a ripple effect on my own personal brand, I will be a little bit cautious. So it's subjective, I would say. I will weigh the situation, weigh the person, weigh the organization, and then contribute.
Oh, understood.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Naomi.
Having said that, Sharanyan, sometimes the content that you get through email may be useful in the purpose of research to get some insights. Maybe they send you a document, maybe a PowerPoint deck or a PDF, which will be useful for you in terms of research. So in that way, sometimes email is beneficial. That's my opinion.
Okay, perfect. So, okay, there's a question from a private question. This is something all about maintaining your LinkedIn profile. How often that you have to update your profile, which means, is there any time limit? Is there any time schedule that you want to maintain? And this is something really broad. So anyone want to answer this question, guys?
Yeah, so there's no time limit. For an example, during COVID, we had to tweak on our profiles to make sure that our services are in line with the market requirement. If there is an upgrade in your job, in your profession, in your business, that could go into that. Apart from that, even your headline could vary slightly depending on the market, if market conditions are changing. Say, for an example, if you are in business, if your business has taken a little turn, and during especially the COVID time, if you haven't done anything about your headline or the summary, then you have probably missed an opportunity. So based on the requirement, you could do it.
Thank you so much, Amida. I think most of you guys, the panelists, you have added more value for this conversation. I think the participants, they have learned a lot because since they are students, they are trying to get into the corporate life and they want to start their own business as well. So that's the ultimate purpose behind this event, because they want to get to know what are the things that they want to do, like a do's and don'ts when it comes to LinkedIn. Why they're doing mistakes, it's not a mistake because they don't have an awareness about it. I mean, I would say in that way, rather than saying it's a mistake, because if we can create a proper awareness, they know exactly what kind of thing they can do it on LinkedIn. So with that, so for the LinkedIn profile, when you are maintaining your LinkedIn profile, and for the students' perspective, we discussed about, David suggested about you want to write an article in a way that people can see as a story. And Amita said it's like a storytelling. And Sasanka also emphasized how you want to present yourself to the LinkedIn its matter. So likewise, when you think about writing and description, especially from the university students' perspective, because they don't have so much of things to explain as a story on LinkedIn. So what are the recommendations? What are the strategies that you could recommend for the students? What are the things that they can include it to blend it? I mean, it's an open question, guys.
Thanks. Sasanka, you want to take that?
Yeah, please.
David, you are taking it or can I take it?
Oh, you go ahead.
Sorry. So see, every human being is different. Every person is different. So you could be yourself on LinkedIn. Everybody is, with a story. There's a story. If you ask me, I have come from Badulla. You can talk about your village to anything. that can be related. People love authenticity. Nobody can say, I'm sorry, I don't have a story. So maybe you are good at something. You are good at some skill. It doesn't have to be writing. Maybe you are volunteering without you knowing. You are doing a lot of things. All those things could become content that could slowly build your brand. Sometimes we know students do a lot of work and only they know, or maybe that batch knows that they have done something. But it is time that they think about it, add a photograph, add a little bit of content to their profile so that they could slowly build. And the day they come to the corporate world or professional world, without they themselves knowing, they have added something. So my son was asking, what do I add to my background picture? I said, you were giving a speech at a 5-star hotel. You have a picture? He said, I have plenty. I said, then add one. That will tell the story. It's very simple. He only knows, and I only know he has addressed only one big audience, but the target audience wouldn't know that. But it is truth. So
Yeah.
collect all your memories and add them.
Yeah, that's a wonderful example for you guys. So when you're acting, when you want to rewrite your LinkedIn profile, it's really essential that you want to blend like your pain point, your failure, your success, and everything, because people love to hear stories. If you know how to craft your story in a proper way, that will make a good impact on the profile as well. So in my opinion, don't just focus on the number of profile views, but it's always really good if you can have a very authentic way of presenting yourself to the audience. So see, look at these people. I mean, if I'm requesting these people to come for a different business meeting, I'm pretty sure David would even, he's not bothered to reply for that, because these people, they love to support others to grow. So kind of mindset, because when it comes to LinkedIn, it's like I said before earlier, values and community. Value and community. If you can focus on those two skills, if you can master those two skills, where you can add more and more value for others, as well as you can build your own tribe around you. So with that, I think
it's always important. It's always important to think like a marketer, Sasanka. Whatever industry you are in, you need to think like a marketer. That's how LinkedIn works. You try to create change in someone in your audience. That's what marketing does. The real purpose of marketing is you create change inside another person. I'm sorry. That's what you aspire to. So that's the sole purpose of marketing. So if you think like a marketer, whether you're a medical student or an engineer or whatever industry that you represent, if you think like a marketer, you will definitely leverage your LinkedIn profile and add value to your audience.
Exactly. What you said is correct. And it's very important to get to know your perspective, because every person expectation, the way of your positioning through LinkedIn or wherever the platform that you're positioning is very important. Sasanka said, think like a marketer. In my opinion, also likewise, but think in a very authentic way. So which means if you can be very authentic with your community, with the people, adding value, people will ask you, you don't have to pitch your product. You don't have to say, hey, I have a product, can you buy it? I have a promotional code. You don't have to say that. But if you are very authentic about yourself and having a knowledge, if you know how to write it in a very proper way, people will ask you, hey, how can I be your customer? So if you can emphasize in that way, that this is what we call as an emotional marketing. Even the words still remain, as Sasanka said, marketer, but an emotional marketer. With that, I think we have reached the time. And maybe I can take just one more question from you guys. And can we just wrap it up with do's and don'ts? Do's and don'ts, which means what are the things that you really don't want to do it on LinkedIn when it comes to professional network? Can we list out at least 2 don'ts and 2 do's, important thing that we can do? So I would say, Amida and David, if you can talk about some don'ts, that would be great. And Sasanka and Naomi, can we just talk about do's? What are the good things that we can do to LinkedIn?
David, you take it. If there's anything left, I will take it.
Very good. I'm going to tell you what you mustn't do. All right. The first thing you mustn't do and cannot do, or you don't want to do, is you don't want to take your LinkedIn profile and have it be boring. Okay. So it must not be boring. How do you know it's boring? You reach out to people who are extremely happy. You know, they don't need LinkedIn to get jobs. They have everything set up for life. And then you say, hey, can you take a look at my LinkedIn profile? And you ask them point blank, do you think it's boring? If anyone says that your LinkedIn profile is boring and they won't read it past the first few lines, then you know you don't have the hook, right? And this is basic marketing. To have a hook is basically be always on the lookout for what you want. So if you want to be hired, be always as if you're open to be hired. If you're on the lookout to be promoted, be always having a profile that looks like you're ready for promotion. You've got all the experiences and you're ready for the next level in your life. So there's this small little tip on the don't part. Never leave your LinkedIn profile without a 60-second video introduction of your current self. Be it this is the first time you're looking for a job, or you're 10 years into your job, or this is your 30th year in your job, always have a 60-second introduction of yourself on LinkedIn of where you currently are at. And in that 60 seconds, you talk about your journey and what you want to do next. So please have that, because a lot of LinkedIn profiles don't.
Thank you so much, David. I'm not sure whether Amida, you have anything to say left?
The list will go on, but one thing, the photograph, we don't want to see from your hair to toes. Have your, yeah. We have to have special tools to zoom and check your face. We want to look at your face, have that photograph. Number two, don't have a profile that has nothing posted, not a single post. Have you post for me to know what kind of a person you are? List could go on, but those are the two most common mistakes that I see, especially from university students. Over to you.
Yeah. And in my side, I will add one more thing. Don't bring the debates to LinkedIn. Okay, LinkedIn is not the place to bring your the Facebook fights over here. Don't post anything negative. I mean, this is not a platform for that. Even though Facebook is not a platform for your fights or debates. So the way that you use the platform, it will create a result. So it's not about, don't complain about the platform. It's all about your way. It's all about how you handle the platform. So Sasanka and Naomi, is there anything that you want to add it as a positive things, do's?
Yes, I would like to add a few positive things. Like Amita said, please do take a really good photograph of yourself from chest to your head. Smile, dress professionally for the photograph. Also, make sure that you have a very creative cover photo. So those are the do's. And also, please approach LinkedIn as a living resume. Update it all the time, participate, comment, like, and publish new articles. All of that are do's from my side.
Thank you, Naomi. Thanks a lot. For Sasanka?
Yes, Sharon, I think number one is, when you talk about do's, you have to be consistent, right? As Amita said, even I have seen that most of the undergraduates, when you go to their profiles, sometimes they have posted about 2 or 3 months ago, and maybe 1 week ago. So you need to have that consistency. At least post 2 posts a day, upload 2 posts a day. So this is a commitment, Sharon. That's what I believe. You need to spare some time. You have 24 hours, but you just need to spend about maybe 15 to 30 minutes to come up with content and maybe post. So it's a commitment because you're building a brand and you have to be committed, and it's a journey. So I believe you need to post content which adds value to your audience. You try to educate your audience, especially if you're a graphic designer. If you come up with an article, if you came across an article which is important and you think that it adds value to your audience, post it, share it with the relevant hashtags. So then you would get searched on the platform, and people may try and connect. And the other thing is, Sharanyan, commenting. There are people who have built personal brands on LinkedIn only by commenting. They just comment, but it's not a comment as you comment on Facebook, saying yes or no, or beautiful or awesome or whatever. It's an analytical comment. You analyze what another person has said, and then you react to it in an analytical way. So the comment may be lengthy, but insightful. So always remember to engage with people. Social media is all about engagement. You comment, you react, and that's the way forward. And always remember, you need to be consistent. That's the mantra.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Sasanka. So in my side, so let me go quickly from top to bottom. So when you're talking about your headshot, it's very important. You need to have a very straightforward and having a light background. And also, if you're an executive, just make sure you have a very proper photo. But if you're a C-level person, maybe you can have a side photo. But if you're a celebrity, of course, you can have like this, because celebrity, they want to expose their bodies and also their characteristics. So there are 5 types of headshot when it comes to LinkedIn. And also when it comes to background, don't add your company logos over there. Don't advertise. Don't use this as a banner ads to sell your product or service. Make sure you use just one line, word, or maybe the people, when they're looking at your profile, they want to see, because first they will look at your headshot and they will look at your background image. So on the background image, don't add multiple colors, don't add multiple words over there. Just use it exactly when they see this is exactly who you are. This is how you want to present yourself. And when it comes to title, just make sure use the proper title, which means don't use any buzzword, don't use any exaggeration, avoid exaggeration. Don't just say like a guru or strategist. Just make sure, like, okay, you are just biased. You are just biasing yourself. Don't do that mistake. Don't do that kind of mistake. And when it comes to your description, make sure don't write points. Write in a very constructive way, use the bulletin points. And also when it comes to your career section, make sure write about your company and your duties and responsibility. Don't just simply write about the company that you work for. People, they want to know exactly what kind of value that you are adding to a particular company. This is very, very important. So when it comes to skill set, your education, don't write about what you have learned from about all the 16 modules, not necessary. So just add only the relevant modules, like you have studied on how you're presenting. If you want to present yourself as a software engineer, BSc in IT in software engineer, don't write all your 16 modules, only the module. And when it comes to recommendation, please don't write any copy. Make sure write it from the heart. Write it from the heart that you experience. Say an example, when I left my feedback to David, I simply remember how I met this guy on Singapore. So from that moment, I started writing. So, I mean, this is kind of gratitude. So why can't you spend just 2 minutes time to write a word which is coming from your heart? We don't want to get into like a missions. So use your humanity when you're writing that stuff. And when it comes to endorsement, please make sure you endorse only the top 3 skills that you saw from the particular person. Don't be biased, because when you're endorsing a wrong skill, you're also misleading the particular person. Don't do that kind of stuff. When it comes to writing an article on LinkedIn, don't advertise yourself. Write something that related to your domain. Don't go here and there, because when you're writing multiple verticals, people will be confused exactly what you're trying to say. If you're into leadership, talk about leadership. Likewise, maintain a good consistency. That is very, very important when it comes to LinkedIn. This is how you are representing yourself. So I think our guest speakers, they have added so much of value. In my side, I have added a few points from my end as well. So with that, I want to thanks for the organizers from the ISEC Sri Lanka, the people who actually organized this event. Because when they outreach me, like I said before earlier, when they outreach me, I asked this one question, why you really want to do that? So they simply said, so we noticed there's a gap. People who are getting graduated from the university, they really don't know how to face an interview. They really don't know how to maintain their LinkedIn resume, because the HR people, the companies who are checking their resumes rather than looking at their hard printed documents. So with that, I want to thank to the panelists, the people who joined and made this event more colorful. David Tang, Enterprise Channel Director, Education Sector from Microsoft. Aminda Gamage, co-founder of Quantum Leap Private Limited. He's a well-known professional sales and leadership coach. And Naomi Hantonete, Executive Director from Handon Villas and Restaurants. Sasanka Dias, Head of Public Relations of Candy Factory Group of Companies. And we have our ISEC own community members, organizing committee members, local committee Vice President Supun Harshana, Anupama Dilsan, Directors Kenneth Kahapitia, Sasaya Costa, Livaha Hamna, Public Relations Manager Sambhavi Sodi, Sabir Yasri, Charit Priyashan, and Network Managers Bimansha Netsarani, Nirosa Delruxi. Event Managers Hiruni Veerasinghe, Asma Ekpal, Marketing Managers Achini Movadanya, Rabin Vijayamana. So guys, without you, this event wouldn't be possible, because I still remember you guys buzzed me even 2 a.m. Yesterday, I left from this office around 12:30. Even Hiruni was talking to me, Sharanya, can you send this invitation to David? I didn't get the confirmation from David. I didn't get the confirmation from that person. So these people tirelessly worked for this event. Just imagine how great the community is. So it's not the typical students. They have great passion, exactly what they are trying to do. I mean, we have to be very grateful for what you have done so far, guys. Behalf of the LinkedIn Mastermind community and behalf of all the panelists, once again, thank you so much for organizing this wonderful event. And for the participants who joined this colorful event, thank you so much for asking all these questions. And also it's going to be I'm sure you have experienced very well. So let me pass this to David, where you can add your closing notes.
Sorry, add what?
Yeah, your closing notes.
Oh, you're talking about that. No,
Yeah.
What I want to be able to remind everyone is I posted into chat a trail of all the answers that I have thought of, and you can read that one. Other than that, I'm signing off. It's very late at night here. It's early morning, in fact.
Yes, it's early morning in Singapore. For Amita?
Yeah, I would like to thank everyone. And I want David Tang to visit Naomi's Hadun Villa, the down south beach property one day. You know?
Why only David? Why you are not inviting us?
you are one drive away. Well, if you ever come to Sri Lanka, you need to go to Hadun Villa. That's all. Thank you very much.
2.5 hours to Colombo.
Thank you. So, Naomi? Hi, Naomi. Okay, Sasanka?
Yes, Aravind. Once again, I want to say thank you very much to ISEC, you for inviting me. And it was a pleasure to join all the other 3 panelists and sharing our knowledge. So I think everyone should get on, especially undergraduates, should get on LinkedIn right now. It's now more than ever. So you need to keep up with the trends, create value, build an audience, and just move forward. The best is yet to come. So always be an influencer, not an influencer.
Thank you. That's a fantastic word that you said. So with that, we are signing off. Thank you so much for joining, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Make all your ambitions a reality and achieve your wildest dreams. This is your chance to study in Australia. Achieve all your higher education goals and live the good life. Educational consultations, counseling, visa processing, and a host of other services to ease your journey. Unity Global is here to help. Step into a world of success today.